Anthropic just gated its most powerful model, putting cutting-edge AI behind lock and key for most builders. Meanwhile, OpenAI is dropping a new speed-first tier, changing how we think about cost and latency. We're also diving into Meta's closed source play in health AI and the everyday friction developers are feeling with API quotas and silent product changes. It's a week of shifting access, new models, and infrastructure headaches, and we're unpacking what it all means for your products. No BS AI briefing, brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back, I'm your host Vikash, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. First up today, OpenAI is making a pretty big move. They've launched GPT 5.3 Instant Mini, a brand new speed first tier. Now, in plain English, this isn't about making the smartest, most powerful model ever. This one's lightweight, super low latency, and specifically optimized for real-time responsiveness. OpenAI is positioning it for enterprise automation workflows where speed is absolutely paramount. It's also integrated right into their ChatGPT Pro $100 a month tier, designed for high throughput interactions without needing the heavy frontier model overhead. Think about it. Now, sometimes you just need a quick, accurate response, not deep, nuanced reasoning that takes longer. For builders, this is a clear signal about cost control. It means you've now got a viable option for things like customer service, chatbots, process automation, or real-time applications where you simply can't afford to pay for top-end reasoning power on every single query. What's more, this kind of segmented pricing, fast and cheap versus deep and expensive, hints at a future where you will intelligently route different tasks to different models based on their complexity and urgency. It's smart and it's a direct response to real-world deployment needs. Next, Meta is shaking things up a bit with their new offering. They've unveiled Muse Spark, a closed source multimodal model with some serious health specific reasoning capabilities. This isn't just another general purpose model, is it? It's coming from Meta Superintelligence Labs and it boasts really strong health domain benchmarks and tool use. Meta's planning integrations across WhatsApp, Instagram, and even their Meta AI glasses. Now, this really marks a noticeable shift from their previous more open Llama releases towards proprietary vertically integrated products. For builders, especially those already leveraging Meta's vast ecosystems, you might face a bit more ecosystem lock-in here. But on the flip side, you could gain incredible native distribution for health-focused applications directly within platforms like WhatsApp or Instagram. It also strongly suggests that we as builders should really start considering domain-specific models. For areas like health where vertical accuracy is absolutely critical, a specialized model like Muse Spark might significantly outperform a general chat model, and that's a crucial distinction. Also, on our radar, Anthropic has made waves by gating access to Claude Mythos via something they're calling Project Glasswing. This isn't just a new model, it's a new way of accessing a frontier model. Access to the Claude Mythos preview is strictly limited to select tech partners and critical infrastructure organizations. The reason? This model is incredibly powerful. It can chain vulnerabilities and even write exploit scripts. So Anthropic decided to keep it under tight wraps. As part of this initiative, they're also allocating $100 million in usage credits and $4 million in donations to open source security groups, which is a nice touch. For builders, this sets a really important governance precedent. It tells us that certain frontier capabilities might actually be withheld from public release entirely due to legitimate security risks. This means you need to plan for potentially delayed or restricted access to the absolute cutting-edge models. More than ever, partnership routes and strategic alliances could become crucial for getting your hands on these advanced capabilities. It's a significant moment in the AI access debate, wouldn't you say? And finally, let's talk about something a bit closer to home for many of us: developer infrastructure friction. We're seeing a lot of chatter, reports on Hacker News and GitHub issues about Anthropic Pro Max quota exhaustion, sometimes within as little as 1.5 hours. People are also noticing cache TTL downgrades impacting performance, and OpenAI even removed the ChatGPT study mode. But it's not all bad news. We're also seeing new tools emerge like RevDiff and SpecSite plus Claude Code Context now adds auto resume per Git branch, which is neat. For builders, this screams one word: reliability. Rate limits, silent product changes, and unexpected downgrades can absolutely break your workflows and your product. You need to monitor these things closely and critically build fallbacks into your systems. On the other hand, the tooling landscape is accelerating. Evaluating new diff review and spec from code tools could actually help you reduce some of this AI development friction. It's a constant dance between adapting to provider changes and leveraging new tools to stay productive. Now, for our deep dive today, I really want to focus on Anthropic's Project Glasswing and how it's setting a potential access template for frontier AI. What happened here is straightforward, but its implications are anything but. Anthropic has restricted access to their Claude Mythos model, their most powerful one, through Project Glasswing. This isn't a public beta or a general API release. Instead, it's being made available only to a very select group, vetted tech partners and organizations specifically involved in critical infrastructure. And the reason they're giving this Mythos model is frankly dangerous in the wrong hands. It's been shown to be able to chain vulnerabilities and write exploit scripts. So the decision is to keep it under tight, controlled access. They're also backing this up with $100 million in usage credits for these partners and $4 million in donations to open source security groups, which is a significant investment. Why this matters right now is because the distribution model is the story. We've all been intensely debating open source versus closed source AI. But with Glasswing, Anthropic's basically introducing a third category: gated access. It's reframing frontier AI not as a public commodity but as controlled critical infrastructure technology. For the market, this move centralizes the power and control over the most advanced AI capabilities. For products, it means you can no longer assume you'll have immediate or open access to the absolute bleeding edge for just any application you're building. For development teams, it really pushes the need to either build around widely available, slightly older models or to strategically pursue deep partnerships if your product truly needs these frontier capabilities. It's a pivotal moment in how we'll access and integrate these powerful models into our future. So, who should really care about this? Well, pretty much anyone building with AI. Founders are, you need to think about your product roadmap. Can your core differentiation rely on a model that might be restricted or have severely delayed public access? This could force a pivot or a re-evaluation of your unique selling proposition. Product managers, you've got to understand the trade-offs between using these frontier, potentially gated models versus more established, widely available ones. What's your fallback if a model like Mythos stays behind closed doors? Infrastructure engineers, your architectural choices become even more critical. Does your system assume open access to the latest and greatest, or can it adapt to restricted access or tiered service levels? And for indie hackers, this means you'll likely be focusing on what's broadly available. You'll need to find truly novel and clever applications for those widely accessible models rather than banking on the absolute bleeding edge. How I think about it as a builder from an India perspective is that this move feels a lot like AI entering its controlled substance phase. Think about advanced pharmaceuticals here in India or anywhere globally for that matter. They're not just released to anyone. There are rigorous trials, strict regulations, and often restricted access only through specialists. For us builders, this implies a real bifurcation in the AI landscape. There's the publicly accessible commodity AI layer that we can all build on fairly easily. And then there's this specialized, like, critical infrastructure AI layer. If you're building in highly sensitive domains, say cybersecurity tools, advanced financial fraud detection, or actual critical infrastructure management, then pursuing these kinds of strategic partnerships, even globally, becomes absolutely imperative. Otherwise, you're firmly building on the more general purpose public models. This means your product strategy has to clearly differentiate between what can be built with widely available technology and what requires that privileged access, and critically, whether that access is even feasible for your startup. It also undeniably gives larger established companies often with existing security apparatus and deep relationships, a significant advantage in accessing these truly frontier models. My no BS take here is this. Look, while the safety concerns around a model that can chain vulnerabilities and write exploits are absolutely legitimate, nobody wants an AI super hacker running wild, there's also an undeniable element of scarcity value being created here. Yes, the $100 million in credits and the donations to open source security groups are good. They do help, but they don't eliminate the gatekeeping concerns. This isn't just about safety, it's also very much about power and control over the most advanced AI capabilities. As builders, we need to be realistic. Don't bank on immediate open access to every frontier model that comes out. If you're finding this useful, hit follow in your podcast app right now. It takes 2 seconds and it's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next briefing. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, here it is. Audit your API quota strategy. I mean, think about those reports of Anthropic Pro Max quotas being exhausted in just 1.5 hours, or those silent cache TTL downgrades. These aren't just abstract problems, are they? This kind of infrastructure friction is real, and it's going to directly impact your product's uptime and your user experience. You absolutely don't want your app grinding to a halt because of an unexpected API limit you didn't anticipate. Here's how to try it in under 60 minutes. First, you'll want to kinetic map your API usage. Go through every single one of your current AI integrations for each API you use, whether it's from OpenAI, Anthropic, or any other provider. Identify exactly where and how much you're calling it. Dive into your usage dashboards. They're there for a reason. Understand your baseline. Second, generate the set proactive alerts. So don't wait until you hit a wall. Configure monitoring and alerts for somewhere around 70% or even 50% of your maximum API quota utilization. Your goal is to get a heads up before you're throttled, not when you're already down. Most cloud providers or API management tools have settings that let you set this up in minutes, so it's not a huge lift. And third, outline multi-provider fallbacks. For your most critical AI-powered workflows, sketch out a super simple plan for what happens if your primary API fails or unexpectedly hits its limit. Could you temporarily switch to a slightly less capable but more available model from another provider? Maybe you could cache responses for a short period to serve stale data rather than nothing at all. Even a basic fallback plan is infinitely better than no plan whatsoever. Why this specific experiment is worth your time right now is all about building resilience into your products. The AI infrastructure is still evolving incredibly rapidly, and these kinds of silent changes and rate limit adjustments are going to keep happening probably for a while. If your product truly relies on these APIs, you need to treat them like any other critical dependency in your stack. Being proactive here saves you massive headaches, lost users, and potential downtime down the line. It builds robustness into your product from day one, and that's a competitive advantage. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.